while. And I'm going to start things off with Penn State firing head coach James Franklin. This didn't necessarily surprise me given the slide that Penn State has been on over the last 3 weeks. I mean, you lose a great game against Oregon, but then losing to UCLA right after they just fired their head coach and losing to UCLA in the fashion that they did, it was just totally embarrassing. But they could have overcome that. And then they lose at home to Northwestern. That's where it became unacceptable. And some people would argue James Franklin almost led the Nittany Lions to the national championship game last season. Like, do we have such short-term memory that we forgot that? Drew Allard, he was that close to leading Penn State to the national championship game past Notre Dame in the semifinals, but they fell short. They still were semifinalists. They were one of the Final Four teams in the country. And now James Franklin is out of a job, and Penn State is eating like $50 million in dead money. And if James Franklin goes and gets a new job that pays him less than his like $8 million salary per year, then Penn State just has to pay the difference from then. And it states in his contract that he has to go and look for a new opportunity, but they're still going to be paying the difference. And the reason why I feel like this move was justified, despite the fact that Penn State made it so far in the college football playoff last year, is not only these 3 losses, but if you look at the body of work, Penn State is in the business of competing for national championships. And they are in the Big Ten, not just the reconstructed Big Ten, but they have been a part of the OG Big Ten, in which the last 2 national champions have come from their conference, the team up north and my Ohio State Buckeyes. When you look at James Franklin's record competing against some of the big dogs in the Big Ten, but also throughout college football, he has a very poor record competing against those top teams. And so ultimately, did Penn State want to hold on? Put the 3 losses aside. Put last season aside with them going to the semifinals and nearly the national championship. Put those 2 things aside on both sides with the positive and the negative. If you just look at his overall body of work for how he competed against the best of the best in college football, he had an abysmal record. And that's ultimately why it was a good decision for Penn State to let him go. But it seems like Matt Rule, Nebraska's head coach, formerly of the Carolina Panthers and of Baylor, it seems like he's going to become the guy. He's a Penn State alum. He's had some success trying to revitalize that Nebraska program. And it seems like he is going to be the ultimate replacement for James Franklin. That doesn't seem like a good idea to me. I could be completely wrong, but it doesn't seem like a good idea to me. It feels like a lateral move going from James Franklin to Matt Rule. You're getting one guy who couldn't win the big games to another guy who won't win the big games. That's just my opinion. They could go with someone completely different, but this firing seemed justified, and it wasn't just from these last 3 games. And I appreciate you, Uncle Manny, for saying we do definitely have a short-term memory. What have you done for me lately? What the Nittany Lions have done lately is they have lost 3 bad games, specifically the last 2. The loss to Oregon, that was a good game. Any team could lose that game. I mean, we just saw Oregon lose at home to Indiana and Curt Cignetti. But Curt Cignetti is a guy who wins big games. Whether if he was at James Madison to now at Indiana, he wins big games. That's something that James Franklin could not accomplish in his time with the Nittany Lions. But hey, the thing I'll remember the most from James Franklin's tenure as the head coach at Penn State was the fact that he played an integral role in Chad Powers, a.k.a. Eli Manning's ultra persona, as James Franklin was the one who helped Eli Manning go undercover for his show Eli's Places. And now the Chad Powers character is being spun off into a TV show that Glenn Powell is playing Chad Powers. Chad Powers is my biggest takeaway in memory from James Franklin and his tenure at Penn State. And that says it all.